All right, get ready for this, because we're talking about something that sounds like it's straight out of science fiction. A power source that could totally revolutionize medicine and maybe even electronics as we know them. And no, it's not just small or safe to swallow. We're talking about a fully edible, rechargeable battery. Yeah, made from stuff you could literally find in your pantry.
So what if you could just swallow your next medical device? Seriously, think about it. No more invasive, uncomfortable procedures to figure out what's going on inside you. Instead, you just swallow a tiny pill, a pill that can see, sense, and send back data, and the best part, it's powered by a battery that your body just digests. That's not a movie plot, that's the future we're talking about right now.
Okay, so right off the bat, we need to get one thing straight. There's a huge difference between ingestible and edible. You know, ingestible just means you can swallow it, and hopefully it passes right through you. But if it gets stuck, that's a big problem, a trip to the doctor for sure. Edible, though, that's a whole other level. We're talking about something made from actual food ingredients. It's designed to be broken down, absorbed by your body, just like your lunch.
So you might be asking, why do we even need this? Well, it turns out it solves a problem that, frankly, many of us find pretty hard to stomach.
I mean, let's be real. Nobody wants to get an endoscopy. They're amazing diagnostic tools for sure, but they are not fun. They're invasive, they're uncomfortable, and yeah, we already have these tiny pill cams, but they come with their own set of risks. You still need a doctor watching closely, mainly because of the thing that's powering them.
And that right there is the heart of the problem. You can't just take a tiny lithium-ion battery from your watch and swallow it. That would be a disaster. These things are packed with toxic materials. If one of those leaks inside you, wow, we're talking severe tissue damage. It's incredibly dangerous. So for a long time, the biggest roadblock, the one thing holding back these truly disposable, digestible medical devices, has been the power source.
So this is where a team of researchers had an absolute breakthrough. And they did it by looking not to engineering, but to biology for the answer.
You know, what's so cool about this is the thinking behind it. Our bodies are basically these incredible biochemical machines, right? Think about the respiratory chain. It uses pairs of molecules that just hand off electrons to each other to create energy. So the researchers thought, hey, what if we just copy that? Why not use these naturally occurring, totally harmless pairs of molecules to build a battery from scratch?
And so, using nature as their guide, they created a recipe. And I mean that literally. Let's break down the ingredients, because this is where it gets really good.
And here it is. At first glance, it just looks like a simple little sandwich of different materials. But every single layer is something you can safely eat. You've got your two terminals, a separator, an electrolyte, and a case. So let's peel back the layers and see what this thing is really made of.
Okay, so every battery needs an anode. That's the negative terminal, the part that gives up its electrons to get the electricity flowing. In a normal battery, you'd be looking at something like lithium or zinc.
But in this battery, guess what the anode is? Riboflavin. You probably know it as vitamin B2. Yep, a common food supplement. The researchers found that if you pair it with a little activated charcoal, which is another common food additive, it works great as an electron donor.
And of course, if you have an anode giving up electrons, you need a cathode, the positive terminal, to catch them. That's what completes the circuit.
For the cathode, they chose something called quercetin. It's a flavonoid that you find in a ton of plants, especially in things like capers and onions. It's a natural antioxidant, which means it's fantastic at accepting electrons. So get this, we now have two common nutrients acting as our battery terminals. How cool is that?
So what connects the two terminals? Well, the electrolyte is just a simple water-based solution with an edible salt. And the separator, the thing that keeps the anode and cathode from actually touching each other, it's nori. Yeah, the same seaweed you use to make sushi. And the whole thing is sealed up tight in beeswax.
And this slide just perfectly sums it up. Look at this list: riboflavin, quercetin, activated charcoal, a bit of edible gold foil, nori, water, salt, and beeswax. This isn't a list of chemicals from a lab, it's an ingredients list you'd find on a food package. It's amazing.
Okay, this all sounds incredible in theory, but here's the billion-dollar question. Does a battery made of vitamins and seaweed actually work? Let's check out the numbers. So the cell operates at 0.65 volts. Now, you might think, hey, that's pretty low compared to a 1.5-volt AA battery, but that's actually a feature, not a bug. It's intentionally designed to be safely below the 1.23-volt threshold. See, above that voltage, water in your body can split into hydrogen and oxygen, which can cause really serious damage. So this low voltage is a key safety feature.
And it's not just a little blip of power either. This tiny battery can sustain a current of 48 microamps for more than 12 minutes. That's definitely enough time to power a small sensor or a little transmitter to take a reading and send out a signal.
And here is the money shot. This is the proof. By connecting just 2 of these little edible cells together, the researchers generated enough power to light up a standard LED. Just let that sink in. This is a collection of food ingredients, creating light. It's just a remarkable, fantastic proof of concept.
So, what does this all mean for the future? Well, this isn't just some quirky science experiment. This could open the door to a whole new world of technology.
I mean, the possibilities are just huge. We're talking about diagnostic pills that you just digest after they do their job, smart pills that can release medicine at a very specific spot in your gut. You could have edible sensors that monitor the freshness of your food from the inside. And of course, this is a massive step towards green, biodegradable electronics that don't end up as toxic waste.
Really, the big takeaway here is that we are watching the birth of truly edible electronics. We're finally moving beyond devices that just, pass through us, and we're starting to create technology that can be safely metabolized by our own bodies.
And it doesn't stop here. Researchers are already working on edible circuits and transistors. This battery was the big missing piece of the puzzle. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? If our phones live in our hands and our computers sit on our desks, how long until our most important tech is literally inside of us? Not as some scary implant, but as part of our daily diet.